Welcome back to another video. With CES 2022, we kind of have a glimpse of what laptops are coming out this year. Not all of them obviously have been announced, but I want to talk about my favorite picks so far. And before I get into them, just a quick shout out to Best Buy for sponsoring this portion of the video. They still have top tech deals going on right now. For example, with the ASUS G14 22 model being announced, the 2021 model is being discounted by $250. That gets you a Ryzen 9 5900HS processor, RTX 3060, 1TB NVMe SSD for $1299. If you need something bigger, the Lenovo Legion Slim 7 with a Ryzen 7 5800H, the same RTX 3060 and 16GB of RAM is $200 off for $1299. If those are out of your budget, there's also the MSI GF65. Now this is a 15-inch laptop, 144 Hz, but the price of $900, okay, is incredible, because you're getting an RTX 3060 with it. Now, if you're looking for a new streaming stick, the Roku streaming stick, the 4K version with the headphone edition and the voice remote is on sale right now for about $35. This is down from $50. If you're interested in any of these amazing deals, there'll be links in the description down below. Now, my first pick is obviously the ASUS G14. They redesigned it and they pretty much gave us everything we've been asking for compared to the previous generations. One thing that the G14 used to never come with was a webcam, which is kind of ridiculous, but now it has one. And not only is it a good webcam, it supports Windows Hello facial recognition, so it can quickly log you in. On top of that, they changed the display. It's no longer 16:9, it's now 16:10. This becomes a very viable gaming display, but it even makes it better for productivity. Having that extra vertical space on a 14-inch display makes it feel bigger than it truly is. The processor is getting the latest AMD 6000 series, the 6900HS, at least you can spec up to that. And the GPU has been changed from an NVIDIA card to a RX Radeon card. They're using the 6800S. And I know a lot of people in my comment section kind of wish it still had NVIDIA, but the fact that this 6800S is 105 watts will offer a big bump in GPU performance compared to the previous year, because the previous NVIDIA cards were only running at 60 watts or 85 if you include dynamic boost. The port situation is the same. The design looks very familiar, but instead of having no micro SD card, there's now one on the latest model. Now, the second one didn't really get a big redesign, but I still think it's going to be a popular pick in 2022 because it offered such great value and performance for a 16-inch gaming notebook in 2021. The Legion 5 Pro undercuts the competition and just gives you a lot of value for the money. And this year they're continuing that trend. The chassis is pretty much the same look and feel, but it's slightly thinner this year compared to the previous one. And you can spec it with an Intel Core i9 or a Ryzen 9 6900HX, which is an unlocked processor. The GPU is getting the new NVIDIA RTX 3070 Ti that can draw up to 150 watts of power. This is a lot of juice in a gaming notebook, but it's still one of the only 16-inch gaming notebooks on the market that offer this beautiful big 16:10 display that again is great for gaming, but also productivity. The big deal this year is that you're now able to buy that display with a 240 Hertz panel, QHD+, and it's going to have a response time of 3 milliseconds and a peak brightness of 500 nits. So the third pick is kind of interesting because it's a Chromebook. I didn't review one Chromebook in 2021, but this HP Dragonfly Chromebook that they announced at CES looks insane. Like, it's a luxury Chromebook. And we've never had anything like this before. There's been some good stuff, but not to this degree. Not only is it going to be a light form factor at 2.85 pounds, it's a convertible, so you can flip it, you can write on it as a tablet. It's going to be multifunctional, but there's some cool stuff going on with this. Not only do you get that Dragonfly premium build quality, there's going to be a haptic Gorilla Glass trackpad. And if you've never used a haptic trackpad, it's nice. You know, if it's done properly, it has to be done properly. And the best example of this is on a MacBook. MacBooks use haptic trackpads, and basically every time you press on it, you're not technically pushing it down. It just gives you that vibrating effect that kind of mimics you actually pressing something. And it works very well, so I'm hoping it works well on this too. You have a 3:2 aspect ratio, great for working. It's 13 inches. You can spec this with Full HD Plus or QHD Plus, 400 nits or up to 1000 nits. Intel Evo certified, so you know it's going to have good battery life, up to 32 GB of memory, a 12th gen Intel CPU. Like this, This is the high-end Chromebook that some people have been waiting for. The ASUS ROG Flow Z13 is interesting because it's a tablet with a lot of power inside of it, like a 12th gen i9 CPU and an RTX 3050 Ti in a form factor that resembles the Surface Pro. Like, this is the Surface Pro of gaming, basically, okay? And I don't know if there's a huge market for this, but I do kind of like the idea, right? You take this thing, it's very light and it's very portable. The 3050 Ti is still capable that you can get work done while you're traveling, but once you get back into your house or your office, you can still use the Thunderbolt 4 port or the proprietary eGPU connection that ASUS offers and hook up an external GPU. But the thing that makes this really interesting compared to other 2-in-1 form factors is the amount of ports you get. You know, like Thunderbolt 4, you have a display port, USB-A, micro SD, and a headphone jack. Like most other high-end 2-in-1s are just a bunch of USB Type-C ports. Now you can spec it with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabytes of storage, but I'm really curious on how well the battery life is gonna be in this thing, because not only is it pretty thin, there's a 900 or 12900H inside of here, and you know that thing is gonna get hot. So it has to run cool and it has to be very efficient for this to be an absolute banger. Now the ThinkBook Plus Gen 3 is a very interesting form factor, but I think it could have been so much better if it included an external GPU, because everything else is there. This is Lenovo's take on doing dual displays. Instead of like the Duo from ASUS putting a display on top of the deck of the keyboard, this one is on the right-hand side and it really resembles a little tablet. And instead of forcing people to use the keyboard closer to you like you would on the Duo, this has the keyboard in your normal position. The mouse, or trackpad rather, is in the normal position as well, but there's a little tablet on side. And I like this so much better, especially as a left-handed person. Like, I don't have to use the trackpad on the right-hand side. I can use this thing as a normal laptop. But the other thing that makes it so unique is the aspect ratio. Like, this is a 17-inch laptop with a 21:10 aspect ratio, QHD plus resolution, 120 hertz with a very high color gamut. And then you have this tablet on the side, which is 8 inches, that has a screen resolution of 800 by 1280. Now, what can you do with this tablet? I think the best use cases are obviously for taking notes. Again, me being left-handed, not the best thing to take notes with because it's on the right-hand side, but it's still in a good position that I could use it for other things. Like if I have an Android phone, I could use this screen for the Your Phone app and then just get all of my text messages on the tablet. Or I can use it as a calculator for notes. I can use it for my favorite apps to quickly load them. Finally, an honorable mention to the Zephyrus G15 and the ASUS M16. Not a lot of major changes to these two. The takeaways are that the G15 is finally getting a webcam, and both the M16 and G15 are getting a slightly bigger touchpad, and the M16 can finally be spec'd with something more powerful than an RTX 3070. Now look, there's a lot more awesome laptops that were announced. I really like the spec upgrades to the Razer blades, but these are my top picks for 2022 so far, and links to all those Best Buy deals will be in the description down below. Make sure to subscribe to see reviews on all of these guys. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.